I don't think the live action remake worked very well for this movie. This one might have been better left alone. Hey movie watchers, welcome to today's review of The Lion King, the animated live action remake, if that's what you want to call it. If you're new to this channel, we go synopsis, my likes, my dislikes, then the breakdown where I give individual scores of the writing, the acting, the cinematography, and the directing. All of my reviews do have some spoilers in them, although that shouldn't really matter in this case. Nonetheless, you have been warned. Okay, movie watchers, let's review. So it's basically just like the original. If you didn't know what the movie was about, I've got no idea why you're here right now. Starting with my likes, like number one, I like that they didn't turn this movie into a social agenda pushing version of the original. They really and honestly just remade the movie almost just like it was originally created back in 94, I can't remember, 96, something like that. And there are several videos out there that are talking about how the movie gets woke. The movie itself doesn't get woke. I'm not sure why those videos are saying that, because it doesn't. That's a lie. There might be some things that the actors are saying or the filmmakers are saying or some kind of thing going on outside the movie, but inside the movie, there is none of that stuff. So it's just talk, it's just noise. Like number two, the one undeniable thing about the movie is that the animation is like mind-blowingly good. It's freaking amazing. It is so real looking and it is so lifelike. There's actually a part of me that wants to say that this movie actually looks more real than like how real life looks, at least as far as movie making goes. The reason for that is because the camera, when filming live subjects, can only pick up so much detail and information. And you have to consider the frame rate, the white balance, how the lighting is affecting your shot, etc., etc. There are so many tiny little technical aspects to filming that creating an animated movie like this one actually looks more real than if it were filmed in real life. Because the creators aren't working within the limited capabilities of the camera. They're working within the abilities of the digital creative landscape, which has far less limitations and far more possibilities. And unfortunately, that's where my likes for this movie end. So moving on to my dislikes, dislike number one. The first thing I noticed that I did not like about the movie was the pacing. It felt very fast, and I honestly don't know how or why I feel like this. The original movie has an hour and 28-minute runtime, and this has a 2-hour runtime. So I'm not really sure why a longer movie than the original actually feels like it moves faster, but it does. That's how I feel. I feel like this movie is rushed and it's moving too fast. Maybe I'm making this up in my head. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that way, but that's how I feel. Dislike number two, I felt really bored in the movie, and I noticed this pretty early on. And it didn't take long to notice that, because they're trying to make the lions and all the other animals in the scenery look as real as possible. And they did such a good job that they ended up making them with little to no emotional expression. And this really minimizes the impact of what is actually happening in the movie. If you listen to the dialogue even, the actors were delivering the lines with little to no emotion or inflection in their delivery. Pretty boring. So almost everything in the movie feels emotionally flat. It just falls flat. Nothing has the impact or the weight that it should have. And The Lion King is actually my favorite Disney movie, and I typically even shed a few tears in the movie, especially like when Mufasa dies. But I didn't shed a single tear in this entire movie, not once. And I think it's because of how little the emotion is actually expressed visually in the characters. Dislike number three, I actually did not like some of the casting of the characters. Mainly it was just Seth Rogan as Pumbaa. I thought it was a good idea originally when I found out like a year ago or so. But as soon as his character gets presented in the movie, I like immediately regretted it. It pulled me right out of the movie, and I think it was just a terrible choice for this character. Every time he spoke or laughed, all I heard was this stoner man-child. And I think Billy Eichner as Timon was also a very bad choice in my opinion. He doesn't have the energy or the cartoon-like obnoxiousness that Timon should have. I was really bored with these characters, and not to mention the actors are really just one-trick ponies. These aren't actors who are like well known for their performances. I'm not saying they're bad actors, but They play the same roles in almost everything they do. I think they were bad choices. I also didn't really like Donald Glover as the adult Simba. Now, I love him as an actor. I think he is an outstanding actor. But for some reason, his voice just didn't encapsulate Simba and his story and everything he's going through. So I do think these three characters could have been casted better. Movie watcher question. Do you even think this movie should have been remade? Are you happy that it was remade, or do you think it should have just been left alone? Okay, movie watchers, here's the breakdown. I'm giving the writing a 4 out of 10. I think the story is rushed, and they minimized some of the characters' roles, especially like Rafiki. The acting is also getting a 4 out of 10. I think the lack of emotion in the animation, or in the animation of the characters, really hurts this movie. Emotionless deliveries, and I don't think some of the casting choices actually worked out as well as we might have thought in the beginning. The cinematography, however, is getting a 10 out of 10, as I have never seen anything better in my entire life on the big screen, and I hope to see a lot more of this type of animation in the future. I am giving the directing a 5 out of 10. I think this movie was simple and basic and emotionless and rushed and boring at times. I think lots of bad choices were made, and that sucks because I love Jon Favreau and I love him as a director. I just don't think he did a good job here. Overall, The Lion King remake gets a 5.5 out of 10 from me. Although part of me thinks that it actually deserves to get a lower score, but the animation is really kind of saving this movie right now. Thank you for watching. I've got more reviews and discussions coming your way, so check back soon for those, and I'll see you on the next one.